Hi, I'm Eric Johnson here at Vanderbilt's Owen Graduate School of Management, and I'm here today with Doug Parker. Doug is the class of '86. Sometimes we call that the famous class, and he's the CEO of American Airlines, and we're just so glad to have you here today, Doug.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, you just finished combining two of the world's largest airlines. What did you learn about that?
Well, we're learning a lot. We're learning it's hard. It's we knew that, of course, but there's just so much change that happens for it's 100,000 people, and every one of them is going through some amount of change, and that's always difficult when it's all happening at the same time. It just requires so much work in terms of mostly communication. But the other thing that's happening is the industry is transforming at the same time, and we have these two cultures that are different to begin with, but they also have components of them that we wish weren't there, and that we're trying to eradicate. Just this, the belief that the industry is, not well, and that the management doesn't care about its employees, and it's, who knows when the next layoff's going to be, kind of stuff. So we were having to fight through, both putting airlines two cultures together, but also at the same time trying to change the culture in both airlines to understand that, look, this we've created something new here, and it's different, and it's, the things you used to worry about, you needn't worry about anymore. We're all secure. We do care about you. We're all in this together, and we're here to support you as management and make sure you're out there doing what you do so well, which is take care of customers.
So two separate cultures and really going to a third one is what you're saying.
Yeah, trying to bring them into one that's better than different than either were before.
Wow. We've seen in the news you've decided to give up your employment contract.
Yeah.
What does that mean, and why'd you do that?
Well, it's consistent with what I was just talking about. I mean, as we're off trying to convince people the world has changed, and that the airline is different, I looked and realized that, hey, I'm the only person here that has its own personal contract. That doesn't feel right. Nothing about that feels right. I mean, it's traditional. CEOs have these things, and they protect you against things like, if you're fired or if the company is a change of control and you lose control of the board. But it just didn't feel right to me at a time that we're off, telling everybody let's pull together and work together. It didn't feel like, shared sacrifice or anything like it. It felt like I had protection that no one else had, number one, and two, that I didn't need nor want. It was protection against failure, and I don't need that. I shouldn't have it. No one else has it, and we don't expect to fail. So I don't need protection against getting fired. I don't need protection against losing control of the company because it's not going to happen. And it was easy to do.
Well, one of the things I love about my job is I get to meet lots of executives like yourself, and I always like to have them share a leadership lesson.
Whenever I talk to students, as they come into the company or in other circumstances, the one point I always make from leadership, which is that when you're in business, it's a team sport and relationships matter, and that is a message which isn't particularly profound. I think everybody thinks, on the surface, well, of course that makes sense, but there's this other perception that a lot of people have that business is cutthroat and backstabbing, and what you need to do to get ahead is to make sure it's kill or be killed, and that perception isn't true within organizations. I mean, it can work for a little while, but people that behave that way will quickly find they're on an island by themselves. Yeah. in a place where you don't want to be on an island, because it's a team sport and you need people to support you. So we learned that so well, or at least experienced it so well in the merger. We were, at U.S. Airways fighting hard to get this merger done with American. The American didn't want to do it at first, but there are all sorts of suppliers and creditors to American Airlines that, as we started working with them, we realized, somewhere way in our past, we had worked with someone on that team, and someone on that team, said, "Oh, these people, they tell you something, you should believe it," because we'd been trustworthy over time, over a long period of time. So it made a huge difference in our ability to get the transaction done, was that we'd established relationships over time, none of which we possibly could have orchestrated or believed would have been as important as they were. And that's really the message, as you show up, whoever you're talking to, whoever you're dealing with, you're forming these relationships, and they're all going to matter at some point. You can't go run around and guess which one is the most important, because you'll never be able to figure it out. So just treat everybody the same way, with respect and work hard and with dignity, all the things you're supposed to do. But it's really true, and it's not true that the right way to get ahead is to go out there and be somebody who's out for themselves.
Well, Doug, thanks so much for joining us at Vanderbilt today.
Absolutely, appreciate it.